In these contours, the peak of H star is generally aligned with the accented vowel, while the L star H, the vowel corresponding to the L star, is aligned with the accented syllable, and the peak is aligned later. Although the notational distinction between H star and L star plus H is an obvious way to represent this difference in an AM analysis, there is actually a long-standing disagreement whether the falling and rising-falling nuclear tones should be regarded as involving distinct accent types. Some versions of the British tradition make no reference to the rise fall at all, so that the extent of any rise before the fall is implicitly treated as a matter of paralinguistic variation within the single category fall. In an analysis influenced by the British tradition, Wallerstein and Redforge propose a compromise expressed in terms of distinctive features. They suggested that the rise-fall should be treated as a variant of the fall of the grounds that the difference between the variants clearly convey indexical or linguistic information, and they analyze the phonological difference in terms of feature scope. This idea was imported into the AM tradition as a feature delayed peak, or simply delay, which is supported to apply to the H-tone or to the nuclear accent as a whole. This issue is still far from settled, in part because of an apparent contradiction between regarding the difference as a linguistic and analyzing it in terms of a linguistic feature. The Rad-Geshelvin analysis is also difficult to make phonetically explicit. However, the Peer-Hamlet analysis has no way of dealing with the intuition that the two contour types are in some way variants of the same basic category, which is really the root of the long statement taxonomic disagreement. We return to this question in section 4.2. Hmm. Ah. Mhm. We now consider the three accent types whose phonetic interpretation in Peer-Hamlet's analysis is less obvious, namely L plus H star, H star plus L, and H plus L star. The L plus H star accent has been problematical from the outset. Problematical from the outset. In theory, it is typically characterized by pitch movement for a preceding syllable rather than movement to a following one. I couldn't imagine so. Yeah, yeah, something. Um, I always. In theory, it is typically characterized by pitch movement from a preceding syllable, rather than, as is the case with Elster for H movements, H movement to the following one. This is exactly what the star notation suggests. The start tone of both accent type is the defining one and is aligned with the accented syllable, while the unstirred tone is reading and is aligned with the accented syllable. 間違うわ。Its reading tone in one case L plus H star and trailing tone in the other L star H. Oh, I cannot tolerate this. However, this description means that there is a problem distinguishing between L plus H star and orthogonal H star because, as we saw in figure 3.2 and 3.3, H star may represent a local pitch jump on the accented syllable. This local pitch jump also implies pitch movement from a preceding syllable. According to the TOEFL guidelines, the L plus H star differs from the H star preliminary by a more substantial rising pitch movement leading up to the H star target, i.e., the presence of a preceding L target. The difference between L plus H star and H star is therefore often fairly clear if there is a preceding syllable to display the level of the leading L. But on the phrase initial accented syllable, L plus H star and H star are difficult to distinguish, and it is known that the distinction between these two accent types is hard for transcribers to make reliably.